Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to quickly make a dance animation using Daz Studio Filament PBR render engine. So I'm just going to look in through my directories, going to Marvel Fortnite. I'm going to use She-Hulk because, well, why not? She seems like a character that can easily render well in Filament PBR. Right now it's still in texture shaded. Anyways, I'm going to scroll through and just click on Filament PBR. As you can see right now, it's got a blown out look, so I'm just going to create a new filament draw options node and then reduce the lights that are there. Just do that by moving those ISO scale and environment scale, then SSAO and SSAO radius and bias. They're really just like for controlling shadows and stuff like that. So you can even control the power of it and the resolution. You can even turn off limits so you can overdrive that resolution value. The same applies for the power. You can also overdrive it or overwrite it, however you want to say it, by just turning off the limits. So let's go back into our content library and then let's actually look for the dance animation that we want to use. The dance animation that I bought from Intenzo, he's an animator. He sells stuff on RenderHub. I don't know if he sells on other websites as well, but I usually get his stuff from RenderHub. So let me just look through these folders. Yeah. So I've got a couple dance poses, but I specifically want an animated pose, not a regular bass pose. But maybe I should also, yeah, I'm just going to quickly load in a set. I'm going to drag and drop it in, because if I double click it, it will create a new scene. But if I double click it, it will create a new scene. But if I drag and drop it, it just adds into the scene that's currently there. So between these two studios, which ones do I want to use? Dance Time or Dance Art Studio? They both look pretty good, and I think they can both render pretty well on Filament PBR. Let me just check out these camera presets real quick. Alright, camera 6 is not that useful in this case. I'm going to go with Dance Time. Yeah, it seems better. Let me just change those filament draw options a bit again. Which camera do I want? It can be kind of hard to pick out which camera to use. Alright, I'm just gonna move the character a bit, change the ISO scale, because I really want to control that brightness and darkness, because that's what really determines whether or not a filament PBR, render is gonna look or not. Oh yeah, we can even add shadows, but it's like ray trace software only, so you can actually see it in the viewport, and you can turn that shadow type off, or you can have it a deep shadow map, ray trace. It's really up to you to decide how you want it to be there. And you can even move the distant light and change the intensity, right? Of course, the distant light does actually function differently in Filament PBR than it does inside of Nvidia iRay engine, but we're just going to be using Filament PBR because that's one that's really fast and it can run on most machines. Because Nvidia iRay specifically requires an Nvidia graphics card. I have Nvidia, but maybe the people who are watching at home don't have Nvidia, so I'm just doing this with them in consideration. So I'm just going to change the background. I'm just going to move the base color. I think a dark purple will do, just because She-Hulk has got that green and purple color scheme, so it makes more sense for me to have the background being a bit dark purple instead of just black. I'm just trying out different sliders like metallicity, ocean color, and stuff like that, because I just want to test out different material presets, different material settings, just to get the floor and the environment looking different. Because if you make the render look stock, like just settings as they are, then people will be like, oh, it's a Daz Studio render. You want people to think it's a professional render, and the way you do that is by changing up the materials that are there. So as for the rendering resolution, I rendered it 4096 by 4096 because, well, at Filament PBR you can basically handle any resolution without it lagging. So I'm just going to make a few changes here. Make sure auto headlamp is off. We don't really need that right now. Here I'm just testing out different shadow settings. Ray trace seems to be okay. Deep shadow also works, but I think ray trace shadows will work okay here. Alright, let's see. People, just say female, poses. Should be somewhere here. Intenso. Let's see. Yeah, dance. I'm gonna load that one. Turn my limits off. Let's see. Let me just move this camera. I wish there was a way like to make the camera just see through the wall, so I could just place the camera wherever I wanted more easily. Anyways, let me try checking out different positions. I'm going to put her in a group so that I can like if I want to rotate her, I move the group instead of the actual character. Because if I move the actual character, that'll be recorded on her animation, of which I don't want that. I want her to animate normally, but then still change where she's facing. And putting her in a group is the easiest way to do that. So yeah, I just changed the rotation on the axis. I'm just going to turn off some lights. Let's see. I'm going to try checking for like a blink parameter, because if she doesn't blink, it's going to kind of look creepy when I animate. So I'm just gonna move a few frames forward, and yeah, then I'm just going to try using some of these morph sliders to just make her blink. Because if she doesn't blink, it's going to look creepy. It's going to be like looking at one of those creepy Annabelle style dolls where like their facial expression never changes and they don't blink or anything like that. So I don't want it to look super creepy. So I'm just going to be using the parameters to just make her quickly blink. Of course, I would put more effort into the blinking if this was like a video for commercial purposes, but this is just for like demonstrative purposes. This is for a simple tutorial that I'm going to upload on various platforms. Alright, so yeah, we just moved through the timeline, making her go from blinking to not blinking. And the nice thing about Daz Studio is that it manages to interpolate the states from her blinking to her not blinking. So it just works really well that way. As you can see, I'm mostly aiming to have the zeros on the according to like 2 times table, but like in this case the 20 times table, so like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. So after like roughly every 20 frames, I'm trying to have the eyes closed, and then as soon as that's done, I'm trying to have the eyes open again, so it's like just a normal blinking pattern, or at least relatively normal considering how rushed I am here. Let's see, I'm actually 15 minutes in. I'm going to time lapse this, of course, in the final recording, so you don't have to sit through an entire 16 minutes of me doing this. And then of course I put in some of these morph sliders for like happy adventurers, just to make her look, well, a little more happy and a little more expressive, because I want there to be variation in the way her face looks. That's one of the really cool things about Daz Studio, is that you can just use these sliders to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. I mean, you still have to do a lot of work manually posting the cameras, lights, whatnot, but these sliders right here, these 101 expression sliders, they can really be helpful in just like crafting a certain look. That's when you see like, wow, Daz Studio, it really is a powerful software. No wonder it was like at one point Daz Studio used to be free. Like it used to be free but with limited features, and then like if you wanted most of the features, you had to pay $200 for like the full thing. But then later on they just decided that no, now it's just completely free, but then you can buy some assets for money. Assets like figures and stuff like that, instead of selling the actual program itself. Right, so right now I'm just trying out different camera layouts, trying to see like if I can animate the cameras. to make the final animation look more interesting, or I should just go with that. Okay, that did not go the way I planned it, so let me try reanimating this camera, because I want the camera to seem like it's got like some camera movement in response to the character dancing. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm just doing is that I'm moving through the timeline and then just moving the camera, like changing the camera angles and stuff. Maybe I'm just going to use a different camera because this one is not really framed where I like. So I think I'm just going to delete this and then just add a brand new camera into the scene. So let me just go into search, look up the first camera and just delete it and just start over with that camera posing stuff. Because I think in the process of posing it, there were some animations that I'd already put on the camera and then I ended up overwriting them in a weird way. So let me just start that over. Right, so as she moves, I want the camera to look like it's moving with her. Of course, I'm not going to be, making it too accurate because this is a tutorial and, we don't really have all day. Oh yeah, here I was typing because I wasn't really also sure if I was going to get audio, but I'm just going to be using my earphones as like the microphone. Okay, let's continue this. Yeah, so for the rendering resolution, I'm just going to use that 4096 by 4096. I'm going to be using Filament PBR render engine because Nvidia render engine just takes way too long for my liking. Let me just pause this so I can select a proper render directory. I don't want people seeing my other safe work stuff. Okay, so I've resumed the video. Let me check the render in the preview. Seems okay. Yeah, it seems alright. I'm just going to put on image series, name it She-Hulk Dance. She-Hulk Dance 1. I'm of course going to be naming camera 2 because it's the second animation I'm making here with She-Hulk. But I've got a lot of directories to look through. Yeah, so as you can see, it is rendering really, really fast in Filament PBR. Look at that, look at that. We have like 100 frames, like in such a short space of time. What frames per second? Ooh, 30, nice. I'm just gonna set this to 30 FPS. This is where I have to just activate the timeline there. Because Photoshop can also be used as a video editor. So yeah, I'm just going to export to that directory, and we're just going to create a new folder just specifically for the video output. No sound, no watermark. Maybe I'll add some sound to watermark later on once it's done. And yeah, those are my settings over there for the Adobe encoder. H.264 high quality. You can use your own settings for that if you want, but that's just the preset I like using. I also like putting my range on work area, so I'm just going to press render on that. It's going to export for a bit. Exporting. It's the final part, but it doesn't really take too long to export, but when you're watching it back, it seems like it takes more time. Just going to let that bar load, and pretty soon it should be done. Then once it's done, I can quickly save this and then add some effects to it. It should be done pretty soon. I can send the final video. have AI at the time. So as you can see, there it is in preview. It's playing, of course. Yeah, that's how you make an animation in Daz Studio.